Hello, folks. This is Port Townsend Food Co-op Part 3. I'm doing a video of a thread of Port Townsend Food Co-op, member owned. You thought you owned it, but you don't. They arrested Rachelle Burt for not wearing a mask. They actually arrested her for trespass in a member-owned business. So this is Part 3. Check in the description for links to the video of her arrest and the previous two. All right, so where we left off is there seemed to have been some bullying and badgering on whether Rachelle Burt and this James Scarantino staged some event at QFC. And she went at it, and finally Rachel said, I wasn't there. Guy James Scarantino says, I wasn't there. And then all of a sudden it was, oh, I just followed James's lead on Miss versus Missers, and I apologize for that. So these are petty details, right? The mask is a big deal, okay? This mask mandate enforced by a local food co-op that promotes alternative medicine is beyond sick. It is a huge big deal, and what we have here is Miss and Mrs. and all this little petty stuff. Anyway, okay. And he says, who is Autumn Eve? No photos, place of residence, who are you? I'm just gonna leave that at that. Okay. I didn't know that the folks didn't know who Autumn Eve was because I thought she's a local celebrity. Okay. David Collins says to James Scarantino, taken to the extreme, co-ops could be powerless to enforce their own rules. We'd probably agree they're governing, but is it their rules? Like, did they make it a voted-in rule to have a mask mandate, or are they just complying with local government because they're going to get fined? Okay, we'd probably agree their governing documents should provide for members' compliance with co-op rules. Otherwise, members could access managers' offices, browse files, remain in the store after hours, or even take merchandise. I'm certain in more than a century of co-op history, some of this has been litigated or at least established with some authority better than simple tradition. Yeah, we'll have to look into that. It is an interesting legal question, but that's not to say the answers aren't within reach and to some extent predictable. Whether the decision to evict a member is a civil or criminal matter is still interesting and could rest on whether the board acted within its authority adopting a rule. Just based on my experience and hunches, I'll bet our member wasn't acting on advice of counsel to assert her right to access. Unless you were her counsel and you are not citing the full extent of what you know. It's interesting, but the manager's potentially libelous allegation is more interesting to me. Okay, Mary Stamper, that's Port Townsend for you. Never go there anymore. That's funny. Really, Port Townsend? I roll. If she has a legitimate medical reason. So how do you know whether I have a legitimate medical reason? So I have to have a card, right? If I hyperventilate, if I had domestic violence abuse, there's tons of reasons. So if it's the law, then a legitimate medical reason wouldn't apply. But it's a food co-op that sells alternative medicine cures for everything. So why are they promoting mainstream medicine? Is that part of the laws? Is that part of the co-op's mission? Questions, things to look at, Okay, the store does not honor any exemptions. They provide curbside pickup. I'm confused though. Didn't you wear a mask for years in public prior? I'm actually trying to make sense of this. Okay. So, because of what happened today, you want to bring in years of what she did or didn't do. If she is protesting something to stand up for her rights, she has every right to do that, just like any other person or any other group. This is bullying. And it is passive aggressive. I'm confused. Didn't you wear a mask for years prior to this? I'm trying to make sense of this. That is so passive aggressive. It is flat out bullying, disguised as, I'm confused. All right. Wow, I grew up in the hippie PT. Yeah, where there was probably an actual real food co-op mentality. This is not it. I'm not going to read all that one. It's a little much. Okay, I actually have a past customer of mine by the same name. I guess some people remove stuff. So because she's a mother of three, she shouldn't be held accountable for her actions. We have to be held accountable. So if you can't force us to not be able to breathe, have you studied... Okay, because we critically think and we make our own personal choices on our health. Which is so funny. I just flashed on abortion stuff, right? The Democrats are all like, my body, my right, my body, my right. But masks, it's my body and I don't have a right. You have a right. All these bullies and these mandates and this trespassing and local governments, right, are bullying me about what's best for my body, while at the same time fighting for my body, my rights. I just thought of that. How ironic, right? And don't be calling me a conservative, like I said in the other videos. I won't be taking that label. I'm a lesbian, I'm pagan, I'm a witch, I'm a psychic, I'm a healer. Yes, I love Jesus, I love other ascended masters. I talk to spirit, I know this stuff. I've studied alternative medicine for decades upon decades. She should definitely be held accountable for her actions. And the accountability she should have is like a parade and maybe a statue put up in her honor, okay? The only one that had the balls to stand up to this entire community. I think we're supposed to feel sorry for her. My goodness, I thought this gal was a nice gal, but she's not. No, she didn't do it. I haven't spoke to her yet. I don't know. But she didn't, I would think she didn't do it to feel sorry for her. Okay, she did it to stand up for all of us who are being bullied by the mask mandate, including all of the businesses in Port Townsend who have lost their business, lost money, lost revenue, been fined, been bullied. Okay? I feel bad for her kids, but what a shit show. Well, if I was her kid, I would be so proud of her. I'd be like, that's my mom. All right. Standing up for what she believes, critically thinking, not just following the sheep of the Democratic statement and Dr. Fauci and his pedophile buddy, Bill Gates. Check the Epstein Island logs. Do your homework. Funny how so many cell phone cameras were already there. No, it's not funny. Obviously. Oh, she removed her comment. Obviously, hold on. Sorry, I got distracted there. Oh yes, so the cell phone cameras, yeah, people were there. Maybe she did plan it. So what? I've thought about it 100 times. Over the last year, I've talked to at least 50 people in this county who've thought about doing it. So, so what? How does that have to do with anything? I am just looking up something here. Okay, so they're hardcore. I witnessed how a homeless man was treated who needed a hot drink to warm up. Yeah, they do have the homeless arrested on and off. I have seen different weird things that the homeless around there have done. So I think it's all going to be case by case, but it's definitely not the old-fashioned, hippie sort of food co-op values. Okay, David Faber. I believe he's a public figure. He said, in this thread, Republicans agitate for the end of private property as they defend the actions of trespassers against the rights of private landholders My, oh my, how the tables turn. Or whatever. Okay, so this is me, Crystal Valcour. My name's Reverend Crystal Cox. My Reverend Crystal Cox Facebook account was shut down. They shut down a zillion of them. So yeah, Crystal Valcour, that's me. And I said, of course, people are laughing at me. David Faber, it is not really private property when they're following a public mandate and we can be arrested for not complying. Plus, are you sure it is private from us? We are the co-op. I have been a member since 2012, many for over a decade. We own the food co-op. It's not private. We are the members, and we do not all condone this. Okay, so then David comes in and says, a co-op elects a board to adopt policies for their own operation. Okay, so first of all, did they elect a policy to trespass people who weren't wearing a mask that refused to leave? So first of all, we have to establish if this is policy and if it was enacted lawfully within that policy. And if they have the right to do this to an owner, if all that's true. Secondly, he says, you might as well complain they don't carry Coke, which this is cool, we're furlong Coke, or allow you to walk around with your genitals exposed. Okay, so he immediately, now this man, and I'm not sure, but David Faber, I think he's a public figure here in Port Townsend, possibly one of the prominent people, just whips out his genitals on this conversation. What in the world? Okay, so as a member, I'm not going to complain that they don't have Coke. I might be like, hey, you guys want to get Coke? Oftentimes with co-ops, you just say, oh, hey, why don't you carry such and such? And they'll consider it. If they get a couple people, they'll carry it. And I think that they have had Coke in there now and then. Okay, so talk about things that I might complain about that are related to food or policy. Why in the world would this perverted freak talk about whipping out his genitals? Walk around with your genitals exposed. And who laughed at it? Jason S. Squire. I mean, that's pretty sick, right? So they're not wanting a discussion about this. They're just wanting to say sick, disgusting things and bully people. Why don't you just provide us with documented information on why the masks work and why we should wear the masks and co-op laws and how things work and discuss what's actually part of this? What in the world has your genitals got to do with this conversation, David Faber? Sick. Don't know the man, heard the name, sick. So I said, David Faber, genitals, really? Are you a public figure? I find that a pretty disturbing stretch. Why bring naked body parts to the conversation? That is pretty sick indeed. Yes, I get there is a board, but you said we are trespassing on private property. And I was simply asking, are we not owners as members even if we are not on the board? Yes, a co-op has the power to exclude people for violating its policies. Okay, I don't remember that being in my membership agreement. So, don't they have to remove their membership first? So they have to have the board vote them out? Right? So if we don't let them force something on our face to where we can't breathe or we feel unhealthy or they can force anything they want, what'll it be next? And is it a policy? Is wearing a mask a voted in policy of the food co-op? That's a question. I don't know if they voted it in or if they just complied with local government so that they didn't get fined. I'm not sure. Then I put time to boycott the food co-op. I've been a food co-op enthusiast since the early 80s in many locations in the United States. To me, a food co-op is about natural health, natural cures, and building your immune system through local grown plants, veggies, fruits, and herbs. It is about natural health. Yet the food co-op believes in masks as your immune system instead of your body. No way. This goes against everything a food co-op has ever stood for to me. Boycott the Port Townsend Food Co-op. I'm into alternative medicine. They are to stand for wholesome and alternative medicines. And the people fighting for the food co-op to be the Port Townsend police of making us fall traditional medicine is the sickest of the sick. And Autumn says, and they probably appreciate the boycott if it reduces community transmission of a highly contagious and deadly virus. And I said, again, Crystal Valcour, that's me, Reverend Crystal Cox. Highly contagious and deadly virus? Only to those who cannot read the hundreds of reports to the contrary. Believe as you will, does not make it true. It is no worse than the flu, and a food co-op is all about natural immune building, miracle cancer cures. It is not about conforming to Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci. Many states and countries have no mandate and have way less cases of this variation of the flu. It is only seeming to be Democratic-held states and counties that are still claiming the virus even exists. Masks don't work. That is a fact. Believe as you will. She said, I'll read a contrary report. Show me what you got. I haven't replied on that. There's thousands of them. I'm not going to reply because she's going to do the same thing to me she did to Rachel. Show me another one. Show me. Oh, well, this isn't it. This is it. I mean, there's thousands of them. What in the world? This is just, it's sick bullying. Over the last year, I've read hundreds and hundreds of reports, and I know people personally who've had family members that their death certificate were put, I'm not going to say it because I don't want this video to be taken down. Yeah. I find that to be hysterical. Show me what you got. I'll bet you like the vaccines too. Okay, so I said David Faber. So I put that one in another thing. So then I said, I put who owns a co-op. Most simply put, a cooperative is a business voluntarily owned by the people who use it for the benefit of its members. And then I put some more stuff about co-op ownership. It says, oh no, you'll have to wear a mask for 30 minutes. I can't believe the horrors they make you do, washing your hands. Very sick. The people that are forced to wear the masks that work at places have to wear them a lot longer. Yes, I can do it for 15 minutes, and then my throat gets really, really raw. But this is not the point. It's so not the point. Anyway, so there's that for now, folks. I imagine this conversation is going to get a lot bigger. So check in the description for the video of Rachelle Burt. We all know her. We've all seen her at the Better Living. She was there for hours a day doing her work online, just like the rest of us. She's a highly intelligent, well-educated, very smart woman. She knows tons about health. And label her as you will. Now you know more on the story. Stay tuned. And Goddess bless you all.